250 feet under a park in the Bronx, there is a valve wheel that nobody has turned since Woodrow Wilson was president. It helps control the drinking water for more than 9.5 million people. Engineers know exactly where it is. They will not touch it. The fear isn't that the valve fails to close, it's that it closes and then refuses to open again. And a city that drinks more than 1 billion gallons a day finds out what that feels like. City Water Tunnel Number 1 went into service in 1917. It has never been shut down. It has never been inspected. Not once in 109 years. So New York did the only thing left. It started digging a spare. 60 miles of rock, $6 billion, and 56 years of work so far, just to earn the right to look inside a pipe. 24 people have died on that dig. Here's what they were buying. Turn on a tap in Queens and the water that arrives began its trip more than 125 miles away in the Catskills. New York Supply is a machine with almost no moving parts, 19 reservoirs and 3 controlled lakes, held in watersheds far upstate, feeding aqueducts that run downhill the whole way. Gravity does nearly all the work. The Catskill and Delaware systems deliver about 90% of what the city drinks on a normal day, and the Croton system covers the rest. It's also the largest unfiltered water supply in the United States. The city protects the land around the reservoirs instead of building a filtration plant, and the water arrives clean enough to drink straight out of the ground. More than 1 billion gallons a day, moved by nothing but slope, to more than 9.5 million people. That's the beautiful part. Now, look at where all of it has to squeeze through. All of that water reaches the city through deep pressure tunnels blasted into bedrock, hundreds of feet below the streets, not pipes under the pavement, tunnels under the subway, under the foundations, under everything. City Water Tunnel Number 1 opened in 1917. City Water Tunnel Number 2 followed in 1936. And for the next several decades, that was the entire delivery system. 2 tunnels. The whole city. Every hospital, every fire hydrant, every apartment above the 6th floor, all of it hanging off 2 holes in the rock, both older than the people running them. Both of them were driven through solid bedrock by hand crews and explosives, decades before anyone had a machine that could do it. They were a genuine wonder when they opened. The engineering was extraordinary for its time. The planning had one gap. Neither tunnel was ever built with a twin, which meant neither one could ever be taken out of service because there was nothing to carry the load while it rested. A system with no spare doesn't get maintained, it just gets used. Here's the part that sounds made up. To inspect a pressure tunnel, you have to de-water it, empty it completely, then send people down inside to walk the lining and look for cracks. To empty it, you close the valves. Those valves sit in chambers deep underground, and they haven't moved in generations. They're old, they leak. And the longer a valve sits in wet rock without being cycled, the more likely it is to seize in whatever position it's already in. The way city officials have put it, the problem isn't that the valve is missing. It's that it hasn't been used. So the operators are stuck in a loop. They can't inspect the tunnel without closing the valves. They can't risk closing the valves without a second tunnel ready to take over. And they can't have a second tunnel without spending decades building one. The city wrote that reasoning down. Its official justification for building a third tunnel was not growth, and it was not thirst. It was so that tunnels 1 and 2 could finally be closed for inspection and repair. Tunnel 1, 1917. Tunnel 2, 1936. Both still running. Neither one ever opened. In 1954, the city authorized a third tunnel. Then it sat on the idea for 16 years. Construction finally began in 1970. City Water Tunnel Number 3 is the largest capital construction project in New York City history. When it was conceived, people described it as the greatest non-defense construction project in the history of Western civilization. More than 60 miles long. 500 feet below street level in places, and much of it deeper still, 600 to 800 feet down, low enough to slip beneath the tangle of subway lines, sewers, gas mains, and building foundations that already fill the shallow ground. The first stage was bored at 24 feet across, narrowing to 20. It cost about $1 billion on its own. It cuts through Manhattan schist, a bedrock laid down more than 400 million years ago, back when this ground was an alpine mountain range. 400 million years of geology, and a deadline set by a valve nobody dared close. The men who dig New York's tunnels are called sandhogs. They have their own union, Local 147, and a trade that goes back to the compressed air caissons of the last century. For most of that history, the work was done under compressed air, pumped in to hold back mud and water. Come up too fast from that pressure and nitrogen fizzes out inside your joints and your spine. Sandhogs called it the bends. One morning in February of 1916, on a different project entirely, a subway tunnel under the East River, the ground above a work crew gave way at 24 pounds of pressure. 3 men were blown up through the riverbed on a geyser, and witnesses said it threw them 4 floors into the air. Michael McCarthy and Frank Driver were killed. The 3rd man lived. He was 28 years old, with a wife and 4 children. He was back at work within days, and he stayed a sandhog for another 25 years. That was the trade New York handed Tunnel Number 3. 24 people have died in construction accidents on Tunnel Number 3 since 1970. 23 of them worked there. Sandhogs, operating engineers, crews doing the ordinary jobs that surround a hole in the ground. One of them was Anthony Odo. A 16-ton winch came loose and fell 450 feet down a shaft in Queens, and it killed him. One of the 24 was not a worker at all. Don Ree Carroll was 12 years old. He was exploring uncapped water pipes at a construction site in University Heights in the Bronx, and he fell 500 feet down a riser shaft 12 feet wide. The last fatality on the project was in 1997. A boring machine the crews nicknamed the Mole took over most of the digging, chewing 50 to 100 feet of bedrock a day and removing nearly all the need for dynamite. The machine made it survivable. It didn't make it fast. Stage 1 finished in 1993, 23 years after the first shaft was sunk. Water started flowing through parts of it in 1998. The moment that mattered came on October 16, 2013. Mayor Michael Bloomberg switched on the Manhattan leg, 8.5 miles of new tunnel, 12 feet across, able to carry the roughly 350 million gallons Manhattan drinks every day. The point of that ceremony wasn't new water. The city already had water. The point was that Manhattan could finally be fed by something other than Tunnel Number 1, which meant Tunnel Number 1 could finally be shut off and inspected for the first time since 1917. Underneath Van Cortlandt Park, the city built the valve chamber to do it. 620 feet long, 43 feet wide, 41 feet high, sitting 250 feet down. A cathedral of steel, built for one job. It's still waiting. While the city waited, the rest of the system kept aging. North of the city, the Delaware Aqueduct runs from the Rondout Reservoir in Ulster County and carries about half of New York's drinking water. It also leaks. 2 breaches, one near Newburgh and one further up in Ulster County, have been bleeding about 30 million gallons a day into the ground. Fixing it meant boring a whole new bypassed tunnel under the Hudson River, then shutting the aqueduct down from October 2024 to May 2025 to tie the new section in. Half the city's water switched off on purpose for the first time. The shutdown reached ordinary people upstate too. Households along the Hudson drawing from their own groundwater wells had to be looked after while the aqueduct sat empty. Still, the project proved the concept. Given a spare route, New York can take a piece of its own plumbing offline and repair it. That's exactly what Tunnel Number 3 is supposed to buy for the 2 oldest tunnels. and it still hasn't finished buying it. The last stretch runs under Brooklyn and Queens, and it comes down to two shafts. Shaft 17B in Long Island City, and Shaft 18B a couple of miles east of it. By late 2024, 17B had been sunk 600 feet. The city's long-range plan, published in June of 2025, puts full service in 2032, 62 years after the first shovel, $6 billion. Only then can tunnel number 1 be drained and walked for the first time. As of the end of 2025, it still hadn't been. There's a plaza at the northeast corner of Van Cortlandt Park where the ground tells you what that cost. 23 manhole covers are set into the pavement, each one carrying a name and a year. The flagpole beside them stands on gray stones cut out of the tunnel itself. More than 9.5 million people turn on a tap every morning without thinking about any of it. That's the whole point. The men in the pavement made the water boring, and 109 years down in the dark, the wheel is still waiting for a hand.